Preview friends, welcome back to another video from Tabletop Tactics featuring me, the Beards, and the Jinx, aka Katie, aka Joe. And we are here to talk about Sisters of Battle today. This is our new faction focused format. Today we're going to be talking about the top changes that have come about since the Adepta Sororitas Codex has arrived, and also since then, Warzone Caradon as well. So we're talking about the changes that have come about since the new Codex has dropped, what it's all about, and where we are. Because it's been a little while since that book came out.
Yeah, it's been a moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long enough for me to pick up the army.
Exactly.
Which is good news.
So we're going to cover everything that we've learned up until this point and talk about all of the good stuff, all the best stuff, and all the things to be aware of. Head over to On Demand where you'll have another 2 videos all about the Sisters of Battle with this faction focus. We will be talking about the top combos that you can do and really pull out the majesty of the book. And there's another video as well, which is something else.
Top 5 units.
Top 5 units. The best of the best, no less, for you lot out there. So without any further ado, let's dive into this video, and it's the top changes for the Adepta Sororitas. So, let's begin at the beginning.
It's a good place.
Yes, we're going to go through the basics for anyone that's new to Sisters of Battle, anyone that might want to start collecting them, and then we'll move on to the slightly more in-depth stuff afterwards. So, if your army only contains Adepta Sororitas units slash Adeptus Ministorum units, you gain what? You gain
stuff and things. It's very exciting. So you get the decree passive ability, which just means that it's kind of a cap on things. So it means you can only take 1 Canoness model, only 1 missionary model, and only 1 priest per Adepta Sororitas character. Nice and simple.
Keeping things balanced.
Very much so. And you also get access to the order convictions, which are just your different sisters' orders, which will be affecting most of the units in your army.
Indeed.
That's it.
Indeed.
It's very simple.
And your Sisters of Battle also gain the Shield of Faith.
They do. They do gain the Shield of Faith, which is very exciting.
What'd that do?
What it do? Shield of Faith is a 6-up in roll. It also gives you the opportunity to deny a psychic test, just rolling 1d6 instead of 2. And on a 6, or if you roll higher than the psychic test, you deny it.
Which is pretty powerful.
It's good because actually, I mean, the sisters don't have any psychers.
They do not enjoy the psychic shenanigans.
No, so it gives you an opportunity to switch that off rather than having no opportunity, which is sad.
And as we're going through and seeing more books coming out, slowly but surely, we've just seen Grey Knights, you've just seen Thousand Suns, which are very
psychic.
Yeah, and considering all of your units have Shield of Faith, you've got the opportunity to say, no
thank you.
No thank you very much.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It is nice. It is nice. And you also gain Sacred Rites.
You do.
Well. If that wasn't enough.
Oh yeah, you do gain Sacred Rites. You can't forget about the Sacred Rites. So Sacred Rites are things that impact all Adepta Sororitas units. It's not the whole army. You can either choose 1 or roll for 2. So you've got the option of adding things in.
Risky business.
But
with great risk.
They're all quite good, but if you are wanting to go down a specific route with your list, you probably want to just pick 1.
I think you probably will. I mean, if your army's got a bit of a theme, if it's combat focused or shooty focused or whatever, you would generally choose one of these Sacred Rites to further boost their potency. So what do they do? So, I mean, you've kind of got 1 for everything, really. You've got 1 to add 1 to your advance and charge. You've got 1 to kind of just do some mortal wounds when you die. I like that one. In combat? In combat only, I believe that one is. That one's in combat. Yes, it is. You've got Aegis of the Emperor, which increases your Deny the Witch, so it results of a 5+ instead of a 6+ deny it. It's quite nice against psychic armies. And you choose this before the battle begins? Yes, it's not something you have to decide as you're doing your list. It's when you decide at the beginning of the game. Yeah, so depending on your play style, if you want to be friendly, maybe don't take it. But if you are playing a more competitive game and you're facing a psychic army, it's actually really good. Because every time any power's cast, 5+, no thank you. No thanks.
Okay, moving on. You've also got Divine Guidance, so unmodified hit rolls of a 6, wound rolls, of a 6, with a ranged weapon increases its AP by 1.
It's nice.
It's nice. It's selectively nice. If you're bringing a Melter Heavy army, it's not really useful, but...
Pitter Patter.
Yes.
Storm Bolters.
Yeah, a little bit of extra AP. Cheeky. You've got the Passion, which is very good, I think. In melee combat, if any unmodified hit rolls of a 6, I will get there eventually, do an additional hit. That's just nice, because exploding hits are really good. We know this, because the more times you hit, the more times you wound, the more times you kill.
It's known.
It's very helpful.
It is known.
And then the last one is Light of the Emperor, which you ignore any modifiers to combat attrition tests and your squad's leadership's characteristics.
Which is
so it's selectively good, I think.
It's quite, because there are ways and means that you can give units multiple Sacred Rites, well, I say multiple too. So sometimes if you do have a big squad, that can be quite a good one to mitigate any morale type issues. So maybe a good one to add on as well as another.
Yes. Yes.
That's nice.
That would be good. So that's all of them.
That's the whole bunch.
That is.
Okay,
There's
very
6
good.
of them.
Well, that's the basics done. Those are your basic army rules. Let's move on to the order convictions and see what that means. But actually, rather than go straight into the orders, we're going to cover a couple of other things first.
Yes.
Talk about Acts of Faith, and also an additional ability which you'll see on some of the data sheets, which is called Zealot, which I'll cover right now. So Zealot will come up on some of your units, including Repentia, for instance.
I do like a Repentia.
I do too.
Yeah, they're very
massive
stabby.
chainsword wielding maniacs. So Zealot essentially allows you to re-roll hit rolls after you made a charge. So for example, with Repentia, you look at it and you're like, hang on, 4s, what a shame.
You're re-rolling.
You're re-rolling all your hits, which is very nice indeed on the turn that you've charged. So you'll see that on some of your data sheets. There you are. Now, Acts of Faith is another mechanic which has been around with the Sisters of Battle for some time. Probably the best iteration of it is in this book. It's far less complicated, excuse me, than it used to be, and to an extent can be far more effective as well. So, essentially, you gain miracle dice in each battle round. So you'll get one at the beginning of the battle round. That is your miracle dice, which you add to your miracle dice pool.
Yes.
A lovely pool.
What do you do with this pool? How do you get miracle dice other than that?
So you can gain miracle dice in 2 other ways. So you have Vengeance, which essentially means that if any Adepta Sororitas units from your army are destroyed, no, forgive me, if you destroy any enemy units with your Adepta Sororitas units, you gain a miracle dice once per phase.
Yes.
So you can do it in the shooting phase or in the combat phase if you like. And then Sacrifice is that when any of your Adepta Sororitas characters are destroyed, you also gain a miracle dice as well. Now there are other ways and means to gain miracle dice through stratagems and through warlord traits and through order conviction rules and things like that. But those are the 2 core ways to get it every time you do these things in your turns.
Nice.
Now, to perform an act of faith, you can use the dice from your pool to substitute dice that you would otherwise roll. And this would include advance rolls, charge rolls, hit rolls, wound rolls, saving throws, damage rolls, and morale tests.
But nothing else.
But nothing else.
That's it.
Nothing else. So let's say, for instance, in your miracle dice pool, let's say you're in turn 3 and you've got a 5, you got a 1, and you got a 6.
Oh.
Okay.
6.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
The 1 might look very exciting, but if you're doing a morale test, instead of rolling for your morale test, you can just take your 1 from your dice pool, put that down, and that will count as your unmodified dice for that test.
Very nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yes. And you can only use 1 miracle dice per phase as well, unless you've got some special rules, which there are some.
Yes, so you can use, for an example, you could use the Simulacrum Imperialis in your Battle Sister squad, and then they can do an additional one, but we won't cover that right now.
No.
Yes, so essentially that's how that works. There's an unmodified roll. You can't re-roll it either, so you can't use a command point to change it, not that you would want to anyway. You can't, there are ways of changing the value of miracle dice to make it better or worse. Again, that comes with different order convictions and abilities and things like that. But generally, that's how it works. If you were to make a charge roll, you can use multiple dice from your pool. So if you had a big charge to make and you happen to have a 5 and a 6, like I just explained, you could put those down to substitute the 2 dice that you're rolling in that way. Things that you can't do, if you've got a squad of Retributors, for instance, you wouldn't be able to substitute multiple shots with your dice pool. You could only do the one, essentially, because it's a single action you can use. Exactly. And that's about that. That kind of wraps it up. Again, on our on-demand videos, there might be some more in-depth ways that you can manage Miracle Dice and things like that. But for now, those are the basic ways to cover your Miracle Dice. And now we will explore the orders of the Sisters of Battle, beginning with the Order of our Martyred Lady. This is a pretty good one, our Martyred Lady. I'd say it's probably the main one. Well, they're the poster gals for the Sisters of Battle. Yeah, they are a little bit at the moment. Black armor, red robes. So, and just in general for your orders, what your orders give you, you get some passive traits, you get access to some more, or one more stratagem, you get access to a warlord trait, and you get access to a relic, specific obviously to each order. So for our Martyred Lady, you get the passive traits of Blood of the Martyrs. What that gives you is when any of your units are destroyed, you gain a Miracle Dice, in addition to the Miracle Dice you would in theory gain if a character is destroyed. So that is a way to get 2 Miracle Dice in a phase, for example. So that's for any units rather than just a character. Yes. Which is nice. Yes. So just more Miracle Dice. Equally, if any attacks are made by a unit that is below starting strength, you add 1 to your hit roll. Which is pretty dang good. That's pretty good. And that's not just in combat, that's in melee and shooting. Yes. That's nice. So a really nice unit that can happen on are Retributors, which are very very popular at the moment. So if you happen to lose 1 or 2, then you just all of a sudden hitting on 2. That's very nice. Bonkers. One thing to mention is something that has caught me out before. There are ways to bring models back to life. Yes. So if you happen to have a Hospitaller, which brings your squad back to its full starting strength, you actually lose that ability. Yeah. So it doesn't stick around if you bring models back. No, so just something to bear in mind. Yeah, it doesn't come up very often. Because it's not if you lose models in that unit, it's if it's below starting strength. Yes. So that's the kind of differentiation there. Now, the stratagem you get with Martyred Lady is called Honor the Martyrs. And with that, so if you lose a character as our Martyred Lady, you can pay a command point, and whatever enemy unit destroyed that character, you can add 1 to your attack's wound roll against that unit for the rest of the game, with everything. Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's a bit nasty. If there's a nasty unit that killed your stuff, you can then have the opportunity to kill it better. Which is good. Yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Very good. Situationally very good. If something rubbish took out your warlord, then it's not very good. Vengeance. Vengeance. Vengeance for characters. Yes. Yes. The warlord trait you get with this is called Shield Bearer. Your warlord just minuses 1 damage it takes, to a minimum of 1, obviously, not to 0. That would be silly. Can be handy. That would be, yeah, very handy. Anytime you lose anytime you gain a Miracle Dice as a result of Vengeance, if it was the warlord that did that, your Miracle Dice is automatically a 6. Which is very nice. Cool. And equally, at the end of a phase, when you gain a Miracle Dice as a result of sacrifice, or if your warlord is destroyed during that phase, the Miracle Dice is automatically a 6. And that is good, because that counts for any characters. Yeah, that's any characters, not just your warlord. Yeah. Any characters that die. Which is really, really handy. We like 6s. Well, sisters tend to have a lot of characters in their armies. Yes. So it is. It's a bit of a character mash. Yeah, it's nice to have a pool of 6s. Very good. Yeah. But that's still, it doesn't allow you to get more than 1 per phase for your characters. So if you lose a bunch of characters in 1 turn, you're still, I mean, your Miracle Dice is going to be a 6. You're still only going to get 1. Yeah. That's okay. The relic you get with our Martyred Lady is called Martyr's Vengeance. It replaces an Inferno pistol. And what this does, it has a 12-inch range. It is a pistol with 1 shot, strength 9, AP -4, D6 +3 damage. Damn! That's pretty good. That's good. I like it. I mean, again, it's relatively situational. Yeah. But when it hits, oh boy, it hits. Yeah. If you got one of your 6s in your Miracle Dice pool and you managed to hit and wound and they fail their save, that's 9 damage. That's 9 damage. 9 damage. Damn. When you bear in mind, well, potentially 9. Yes. Well, bear in mind, most things will be hitting on 3s. Yeah. So strength 9. So you're wounding most things on 3s. Yes. We've been winning most things on 2s, but big chunky vehicles,
Yeah. AP -4.
Yeah.
Not much. I mean, at that point, you're just thinking of things that have invulns. And it's a pistol, so you can shoot it into combat.
Imagine getting shot in the head by Martyr's Vengeance.
Ooh,
Point blank, melt to death.
That is just cruel.
Makes me very happy.
But with that is everything from the Order of our Martyred Lady that's in the main book. However, the Book of Rust, the Book of Fire, sorry, when that was released, there is a bunch of new stuff for Martyred Lady in there. You get, I believe, 3 new Warlord traits.
3 Warlord traits.
3 new Warlord traits, 4 more relics, and 2 whole pages of stratagems, just for Martyred Lady. That's pretty good. So I would definitely, check out this book if you want to run Martyred Lady and do some fun. There's some fun stuff you can do in there.
Yeah,
there really is.
There is one combo which we'll be covering in our combos video on demand, which is just an obscene mortal wound delivering Canoness build. But you can see that on demand because it's just crazy.
But it's very cheeky. I would check that out. It's ridiculous. Yes. But yeah, that's Martyred Lady. The best one, if you will. Could be controversial. So we'll move on to the next one, Order of a Valorous Heart. So the passive ability that one gives you is called Stoic Endurance. So you get a 5-up save against a mortal wound.
Sure.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, because they don't really have anything to protect against mortal wounds, not having any psychic or anything. So yeah, that's quite nice.
Well, you've got Shield of Faith.
You've got Shield of Faith. That doesn't save you against mortal wounds, though, does it?
Well, it might be able to stop you from taking smites.
Yeah.
On a cheeky 6.
Yeah, you make a very good point. And equally, so AP -1 and 2 gets reduced by 1.
Which is decent.
Yeah, that's just good.
It's decent.
You're getting your saves in there. That's very handy.
Nice on units like Sacrosanct with their Storm Shields. So if you got an AP2 weapon you're being hit with, you still got a 3-up save.
Yeah, that's really nice.
You know what I mean?
That's quite nasty. Yeah, Valorous Heart is definitely one of the ones that is kind of designed for more protection. So if you're the type of person that likes playing to keep your models alive, Valorous Heart might be for you.
Yeah, as this can be quite squishy, especially their infantry, so anything to boost them up is
handy.
That's nice.
Yeah. The stratagem you get with Valorous Heart is called Blind Faith. So when you are selecting a unit to shoot with or fight with, you are essentially ignoring all hit roll, ballistic skill, and weapon skill modifiers.
Yep.
Yeah. So anything's tried to make you hitting on more, you hit on better, or you hit on the same.
Can you imagine an army of Valorous Heart and just like marching forward with blindfolds on? They're just like carving through the enemy with their blindfolds, but they're still hitting everything. Sweet.
Okay.
Very sweet.
That is really cool. Nice little image. The Warlord trait is called Impervious to Pain. Each time your Warlord will perform an act of faith, you regain a wound.
Sure.
That's quite nice.
Why not?
And then each time your Warlord will lose a wound, you have a 5-up full night pain. So again, Valorous Heart is all about kind of keeping things alive.
Yes.
If you're a defensive player, it's good. The relic is called Casket of Penance. So anything within 3 inches or any enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer has -1 to their toughness. If it's also a chaos model, it gets -1 to its strength.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Yeah. It is what it is. It's keeping your stuff around, giving you more survivability, and also, just doing some good stuff.
Easy to kill stuff with the old Casket of Penance.
Yeah, indeed.
I don't know if I'd choose it over some of the other relics, but
no,
it's all right.
Yeah, it's situationally okay. I mean, you kind of want whoever's holding it to be up in people's grill, because you have to be within 3 inches, but that might be how you want to play. Equally aggressive and defensive.
Exactly.
It's a bit of a weird one to throw in Valorous Heart, but okay. The next one we're going to go into is Order of the Bloody Rose, and this is another really popular one.
Very popular one.
Yeah.
Not quite as good as it used to be, but
it's still good.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely the one to take if you're wanting to bring close combat sisters.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a bunch of chainsword wielding maniacs?
No one.
I want them.
No one doesn't want that.
Yeah, right. Oh, you confused me for a moment. Everyone wants it, is what we mean. Everyone wants chainsword wielding maniacs. Yes. So, Order of the Bloody Rose, the passive abilities you get are called Quick to Anger. So, anytime you charge, were charged, or performed a heroic intervention, you get to add 1 to your attacks. Great. More attacks. You also improve the armor penetration of your attacks by 1.
I mean, it's good.
It's really good.
It's decent.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It makes you really killy, a bit more of a blender. The stratagem you have for Bloody Rose is when you're fighting in close combat, any unmodified hit rolls of a 6 automatically wound.
Damn.
It's really nice. So you get +1 attack, you get +1 to your AP, but in any case, any 6s are auto wounding.
Yeah.
What can you do against it?
Yeah. Especially good if anything with power swords, or blessed blades is good.
Yes.
Unit of Zephyrim.
Yes.
With all their attacks.
Nasty.
-4 AP.
Ooh. More attacks, -4 AP. 6s are automatically wounding. They're essentially a blender at that point. There's a lot of blendery units in the Sisters I've been noticing.
Yeah.
It's very,
Will it blend?
We can see. Give it a go. The Warlord trait it gives you, again, is just really attacky, close combat-y melee. It's called Blazing Ire. So your Warlord will get an extra attack and can advance and charge. It's great. Essentially, don't bring any shooting if you're running Bloody Rose.
No.
It's pointless.
There's certainly an emphasis here.
Yeah. The relic is called I can't say it.
Beneficence.
Beneficence, there you go.
AKA the chainsword of many slayings.
That's a great name for it. So yeah, as my friend rightly pointed out, it replaces a chainsword. Yes, you're a very good friend. So it's strength +2, AP -2, damage 1. However, every time you fight, you do 3 additional attacks. And if there are 6 or more enemy models within 3 inches of you, it's D3 +3 additional attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hurricane.
Yeah.
Chainsword hurricane.
Whee! Like that.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
Very graceful.
Thank you.
Yes. Quite literally blew my socks off there.
Thank you.
Very blustery.
Yeah.
With that chainsword hurricane you just performed.
I'm horrifying.
So the next order we have is the Order of the Ebon Chalice. So with this order, essentially this allows your army to select 2 sacred rites. So as you mentioned before, you can pick one or you can roll for 2, but with this one you can actually pick 2.
That's really useful because there are some really nice ones in there that you can use to just give your whole army a buff.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And also with the sacred rites, quite a few of them are more focused towards being in combat. So if you are creating a combat-focused army, it's another one to consider along with Bloody Rose.
Yeah.
Very, very different approach, but it does mean that you could, for example, if you were to choose, oh goodness, what are they called? I can't remember now. Anyway, if you had units like Zephyrim, for instance, can you see my delaying tactic here whilst I look for the sacred rites?
We're talking about the Zephyrim. So you've got the...
Here we go, Hand of the Emperor. So Hand of the Emperor gives you +1 to advance and charge for your army. And you could also pick the Passion, where unmodified hit rolls of 6 score an additional hit. So if you combine that with a unit of Zephyrim, for instance.
You deep strike them in.
With the Banner, they then have an 8-inch rerollable charge.
And then any hit rolls of 6s are additional hits.
It's very nice. So an interesting one to consider with combat armies if you want a different approach to Bloody Rose. Moving on. We then have Cleansing Flame. So Cleansing Flame, when you pick a unit to shoot, to the end of the phase you add 4 inches to your flame weapons, and then any unmodified wound rolls over 4, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any damage, up to 3 mortal wounds. So again, we're talking about Zephyrim, you could talk about Seraphim as well, with the hand flamers. Very interesting. You could also pick an immolator or whatever. It's flamey goodness. The Ebon Chalice love the flame.
Funny.
Terrible Knowledge is the Warlord trait. At the beginning of the battle rounds, the miracle die that you are given is automatically a 6.
That's quite handy.
Pretty cool.
If you get to battle round 5, that's 5 6s you know you're going to get.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And also, when you spend a command point on a 5+, the command point is refunded.
That's very handy.
Don't forget, you got your miracle die, but you also have your command points. It's a good one there to be able to manipulate both of those. I've got a tickly throat, so if I go, I apologise.
Please forgive him.
That's the last
He's trying
time
his best.
you then have the Enunciation of the Creed, which is the Ebon Chalice relic. Another great thing about Sisters is that everything in here is really fun to say.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
everything is fun to say. So when you're explaining to your opponent what things do, you can get all regal with your voice, and it's really fun. So the Enunciation of the Creed replaces a Condemner bolt gun, and you get 2 profiles like you would do with a Condemner bolt gun. You have your normal bolt gun, which is a bolt gun. Then you have your Blessed Stake.
A steak.
A steak.
Like killing vampires steak.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
The demon hunters. So the blessed steak is assault 1, 24-inch range, strength 4, -2, damage 2. Before selecting targets, you can select one or both profiles as you would do with a normal combi weapon. If you do both, you subtract 1. Each time you select a target for the weapon, ignore Lookout Sir. So it's you can go for characters.
Yes.
More specifically psychers, because each time an attack with this weapon's blessed stake profile is allocated to a psyker, that model suffers 3 mortal wounds in addition to normal damage. So the crazy thing with this is that it states each time an attack with this weapon's blessed stake is allocated to a psyker.
So it's not even, you don't even have to hit, you don't even have to wound, it's just target.
It's a psyker-seeking missile. So that's weird. I don't know if this has been FAQ'd. I have a funny feeling it hasn't, but that's hilarious. Again, kind of situational, but if you need to slay those demons, your blessed stake is gonna do bits for you. So we'll move on now to the Order of the Argent Shroud. This is the one that you want if you've got a very shooty army.
Yes.
Because each time you make a normal move or advance in your movement phase until the end of the shooting phase, the unit counts as remaining stationary, which is pretty sweet.
That's very handy.
Pretty sweet. Being able to advance with heavy weapons like multi-melters and count as remaining stationary, it's pretty good.
That's really good.
Retributors used to have that built in to their profile. They're still a very popular unit, but when you move and you hit on 4s, slightly less so, but you can completely mitigate that with Argent Shroud, and you can just hit on 3s all day.
That's what I want. I want to be hitting on 3s with my Retributors and killing everything I'm shooting.
We love it.
It's perfect.
And if you are shooting or fighting, you can reroll 1 hit roll or 1 room roll as well.
That's handy.
So if you happen to roll 2, guess what? You can reroll it.
And that's for each unit.
For each unit.
Each unit gets either a 3 hit roll, 3 reroll for the hit roll, or a 3 reroll for the win roll.
Absolutely. The stratagem we have here is Faith is our shield. In any phase, when a model would lose a wound, at the end of the phase, each time a model or any other model in that unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound on a d6, on a 4+, it's not lost. There's a 4-up shrug, essentially.
Okay.
Warlord trait, selfless heroism. The warlord is able to perform a heroic intervention within 6 rather than 3. And also at the start of the fight phase, there is no fart phase, it's a fight phase. If the warlord is within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fight first.
Okay. Great.
Being in engagement range in the fart phase is really unpleasant, so you want to make sure you're not there. The relic is the Quicksilver Veil. You can give this to an Argent Shroud model. You add 3 to the move characteristic, and each time an attack is made against the bearer, you should subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll.
Nice.
So they're very zippy. Very zippy.
Zippy dippy doodah.
Yes.
Nice.
Duck, dip, dive, and dodge. And finally, we have the Order of the Sacred Rose.
Yes.
So, Sacred Rose may be the least popular one, potentially.
I've not really seen it run, personally.
So each time a combat attrition test is made for a unit with this conviction, it's automatically passed, which is fine.
That's nice.
And each time you use a miracle die, when a model or unit with this conviction performs an act of faith on a on a 4+, you gain a miracle die. So it does give you the ability to keep your pool topped up.
Yeah. That's really handy, actually.
Which is all right. Emperor's Judgment is the stratagem. So in your shooting phase, when a unit is selected to shoot, to the end of the phase, each time an attack is made with a ranged weapon by model in that unit, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. Cool.
So it's a situational, the passion, but for ranged and on a single unit.
Yes. So that's all right. Warlord trait, Light of the Divine. Once per turn, when you perform an act of faith, 1 miracle die using an act of faith is considered to be a 6. Cool. And you have an ability called Light of the Divine, which is a 6-inch aura. So when a core Sacred Rose unit is within 6, you can fall back and shoot, which is all right.
So this is kind of your alternate to Argent Shroud as a shooting one, really.
The only issue with this is that if a Sisters of Battle core unit is in combat, they normally don't live to see the end of it.
No, they're quite squishy.
Slightly less useful, but it's there nonetheless. The relic is the Light of Saint Agnethea, and it replaces a Brazier of Holy Fire. It's 12-inch range, it's D6. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits the target, and a modified room roll of 4+, or 2+ if it's a demon unit, the target suffers 1 mortal wound. So up to 6 mortal wounds, it's not capped.
Nice. nice.
That's it. You do have your Minoris Convictions as well, where it is sort of like a pick your own order sort of thing. So if you want to make something very bespoke, you have the option of doing so. But those are the orders. I think the Argent Shroud is a nice one. Yeah. Bloody Rose is good. Yep. Martyred Lady is pretty good, especially with the
with all the additions.
So you got some nice choices there. Do you have a favourite?
I've kind of played with a different one every time I have. It really depends on the playstyle and the units you're using. And what you go. It does, because it does give you options for different playstyles, which is really good. I do think our Martyred Lady has the most options, so I think that's pretty good. But I do like a cheeky Argent Shroud.
Good.
What about you?
I don't know.
Okay then.
I don't know. They've all got their bonuses. I do like. Sorry, Mr. Cherub. I do like Bloody Rose as well. Ebon Chalice is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I quite like Ebon Chalice as a alternative combat army.
I feel like Ebon Chalice would be the one that you would build a list knowing that you're taking Ebon Chalice.
Yeah.
Like you would really just focus on those units that it's going to get the most out of.
I like the idea of running like 3 units of 10 Seraphim in Ebon Chalice.
And then Seraphim.
And then a couple of Seraphim units as well for just coming down and being a nuisance, getting retrieval Tyrus data, etc. Because it just gives you a lot of ball control. It gives you the opportunity to have some more effective deep strike charges. 8-inch rollable charge when they come down with their banner. Okay then. Cleansing Flames is really cool. Terrible Knowledge is all right as a warlord trait. Annunciation of the Creed is really fun to say.
So there you go, that means it's worth it to take if it's fun to say.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole point of picking your army, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just having fun things to say.
The Enunciation of the Creed! So, we've talked about all of the rules. We're now going to discuss some of the newer units.
Yeah.
Not necessarily new at this stage, but certainly since the new book, they are some new options. We've had some time to have a play around with them.
Yes.
We're going to start off with your Bay.
Wolvenvar. I do. I think she's amazing.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think everyone thinks she's amazing at this point.
She's pretty decent. She's probably one of the best HQs in the game.
Oh, absolutely. She's literally the only reason you wouldn't take her is if you're kind of wanting to do some weird janky stuff.
Or if you're wanting to have as many units on the board as possible.
Yeah, because she is, she's a bit expensive.
She's pricey for a unit. She's probably slightly undercosted in her abilities. What she can do.
She's quite powerful.
Yeah.
That's why I love her so much.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare her points cost to a Cannonass, she is far more expensive. But she's pretty good.
She is very good. So basic stats, she's got 8-inch move, hitting on 2s with both melee and shooting. She's strength 5, toughness 5, 8 wounds, 5 attacks, and she's at 2 opposite. Which is nice. She's got quite good. She's got a couple of options to shoot. So she's got her Fidelis, which is a pew. It's a pew.
It's a mega heavy bolter.
It's
Strength 6 heavy bolter.
Oh, it's very nice. Strength 6, -1 AP, 2 damage. Very nice. She's also got a Paragon missile launcher, which has 2 profiles, which is really handy. Actually, both her main gun and her main close combat weapon have 2 profiles, which make her really, really good for utility. She's quite versatile, which is part of what makes her so powerful. So her Sanctorum missile profile gives her more shots, less strength, but less damage, but more shots, so better against units of infantry.
And you get blast as well.
Oh, you get blast. And her Prioress missile is fewer shots, but double the strength, -2 AP and D6 damage. So it makes her pretty good against big things as well.
It's like a Cyclone missile launcher.
She's very good. And then her Lance of Illumination.
The Lance of Illumination!
Knew he was going to do that. Again, has 2 profiles. So you've got the Sweeping Blow, which doubles your number of attacks. It's AP -2, 1 damage. It's good at wiping out hordes. I found this out myself. Very good at wiping out hordes. And then she also has a Lunging Strike profile with it, which is more for taking out big things. So it's strength +3, so end up as strength 8, AP -3, 3 damage. But any unmodified wound rolls of a 6 do mortal wounds in addition.
Yeah.
So that's quite powerful against some bigger stuff, because I mean, strength 8 is pretty good. That's pretty good. You'll be wounding most things on 2s. She's already hitting on 2s. And then wounds of 6 do additional mortal wounds. She's really very killy. Now for her ability, she's got a bunch of really good ones. So she's got a 4-up invuln. And she has a 4-up against mortal wounds as well, which is really good.
4-up.
Yeah. She halves any damage she takes. Okay. Once per battle, if she is at the end of the fight phase, if she's within engagement range of an enemy unit, she can fire again. Now, one of the things I found this to be really helpful for is when she's been charged, but she's killed everything that she was in combat with, and then she can consolidate and get within engagement range of another unit, she can fire again. It's nuts. It can be pretty nasty if you use it to effect, and actually something your opponent's going to have to be really careful about when charging her. So it just makes your opponent think a little bit more. She does have to be a warlord if you're taking her, and she does come automatically with the warlord trait. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's Righteous Rage. It's rerolling hits and wounds.
Rerolling hits.
Rerolling hits. Let's talk about some of her other things. So she does have an ability in the...
No, reroll hits and wounds.
I'm a big brain. She does have a ability in the command phase, so you can make any core unit within 6 inches of her reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1, which is good. And she can also... So that's an aura, and then she can also give something else full rerolls to hit and wound.
Yeah. So the reroll 1 to wound as well with Aurora is pretty nuts.
That's pretty powerful. Especially she can be in any position on the board because she can shoot. She's got 36-inch range with her weapons. She can be stabby. So she works in any army. If you've got a close combat army, she works. If you've got a shooty army, she works. She can do literally anything. She's really survivable because of her 2-up save and then 4-up invuln, 4-up ignoring mortal wounds. She halves damage. She buffs up the things around her by making them more likely to hit and wound. It's quite a devastating combination, to be honest.
Savage.
Yeah, she's horrifying. I love it. She also explodes.
Yeah.
She's a vehicle.
Yeah.
I love it. That's it. There's more than one. She's amazing.
She's very good.
Buy one if you don't have one.
Yeah, buy one. So the other things that we've had come through are Palatine. So essentially this is your Sisters of Battle Lieutenant. So it just gives you a reroll 1 to wound aura to your core units.
Nice.
Again, useful if you've got shooty or combat stuff, depending on how you want to run it. I think she comes as standard with, you can upgrade it to have a plasma pistol if you wish, and a power sword. But yeah, really good utility for buffing some of those core
she's more of a support character.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And then we're going to cover the Preachers later, at the end of this bit, we're also going to talk about the new war hymns you have access to. But the other cool unit that have come about are the Celestian Sacrosancts.
These guys.
Not ordinary Celestians, Celestian Sacrosancts.
Yes.
They are very, very, very good.
Yes.
So this is sort of your new Sisters of Battle go-to combat unit, essentially.
They're your shield wall.
They are very good. They're very good indeed. So you can take them up to a unit of 10. Yes, they're toughness 3, so they're not particularly tough. However, they do have a Storm Shield, which means they have a 2-up save and a 4-up invulnerable save, effectively. They come with a couple of different options for their melee weapons. Now, the Sister Superior, for 5 points, you're going to want to give them every single time the Spirit of the Faithful because it's amazing compared to the other options. So it's +3 strength, so strength 6, -3, damage 2. With her 3 attacks, you wouldn't take it over the other options. The other options are still quite good, but it's really, really good. With the rest of your Sacrosancts, you can either give them an Anointed Halberd or a Hallowed Mace. So the Anointed Halberd gives you +3 strength, so again, strength 6, -3, damage 1. So that's a nice bit of hall clearance there. And then the Hallowed Mace is +2 strength, -1, damage 2. So probably a little bit better at dealing with some slightly higher wound infantry as well. They act as a bodyguard unit, so if you have any models within 3 inches of a character, even if they go down to 1 model, you still can't target the character, which is really nice. And you also are able to perform heroic interventions as if they were characters with their Keepers of the Faith ability. So I would probably recommend running them in big squads, or I suppose you could also do 3 smaller squads as well if you want to spread them out across the board. But when you combine that big squad with some characters and some war hymns and stratagems, things like that, they become very powerful. And this is one of the main units we're going to cover in our combos video on demand. So head over to that to see the real power of the Sacrosancts over there. Talking of power, and where power maybe isn't so hot, are the Paragon Warsuits.
Yeah, they're a new unit. They're pretty cool. I think they look cool.
They look sweet.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of people think that they look silly, but I think they're wrong. I think they look really cool.
They look good in real life.
Yeah. It's just a bit, they're an interesting one. Because they're definitely, when you give them the best ranged options for them, they can do I've used them, they can do some real damage.
Yeah.
The issue with them is, okay, they've got a 2-up save, but they don't have an Ebon. Well, they have the Shield of Faith.
That's Shield of Faith,
but
it's not enough.
But no.
It's not enough.
If you don't have anything to really protect them, keep them alive, buff their saves in some way, they're pretty squishy. They're toughness 5.
And they do reduce damage by 1.
They do reduce damage by 1, but for the damage they do, they're quite expensive in terms of wanting to bring them to do damage when they might just die.
Yeah.
But I'll talk through some of their weapon options. So just the stat line in general, they move 8 inches, they are a vehicle, they are hitting everything on 3s, they're strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, although 4 for the superior, and 2-up save. So they do, again, like you said, they do -1 damage that they take, and they've got quite a fair few options for things. So obviously come basically standard with a bolt pistol, heavy bolter, 2 storm bolters, Paragon Warblade. That's their standard loadout. I would upgrade it, because if you're bringing them with that, there's no point, to be completely honest.
There you go.
You heard it here first, folks. So I would replace the storm bolters with the Paragon Grenade Launcher. 24 inches, 2 shots, strength 6, -1 AP, D3 wounds, D3 damage, which was pretty good. And then I would replace the heavy bolter with a multi-melter, because it's a multi-melter. Yeah. It's just better.
Okay,
and then you've got 2 options for close combat. You've got your blade and your mace. The difference between these, the blade is +1 strength, so strength 6, -3 AP, 2 damage, but you make an additional attack. So more attacks. The other one is your mace, which is strength +4, so strength 9, which is pretty good. -2, 3 damage, but you are hitting on 4s instead of 3s.
Yes.
So it's a trade-off of which one you use. I think it can be, you kind of think what you're likely to face, and that's what you'd bring.
Yeah.
But there's just better stuff you can bring.
Yeah, I believe they're 240 points, which isn't cheap.
No.
Yes, they reduce damage by 1, but with a 6-up invulnerable save, you need to get them across the board to be doing any real damage. Yes, you can use a multi-melter, but they are vehicles, and there's plenty of things in the game to deal with vehicles. I feel like if they had a 5-up invulnerable save, they'd be much, much, much more attractive, because there is a way to boost up the Shield of Faith by 1, I believe with a Preacher ability. But again, it just makes it very difficult to keep them alive long enough for them to be doing any real damage. So it's a bit of a shame. If they get a points decrease, they might be a bit more attractive. But at the moment, they're a bit of a funny one.
Yeah.
A bit of a funny one. So last thing to talk about before the Preachers and the War Hymns is the Dog Martyr. So Dog Martyr is a really, really interesting new unit. She has the ability called Sacred Task, which means that core units are able to shoot and do an action at the same time, which can be really useful. And you also have Unflinching Determination, which means that any core units can become OBSEC. So in the command phase, you can pick a core unit, they become OBSEC. If they're already OBSEC, like your Sisters of Battle, they count as 2 models rather than 1. So if you do need to be holding on to those objectives, which you generally do in this game, it's a really nice model to take as part of a larger group of units. So Sacrosancts, for instance, making them OBSEC is really nice. And being quite cheap, she's brilliant. And on top of that, She's a priest, so she has war hymns.
That's really cool.
This is great.
We like war hymns.
I'm going to cover the war hymns very quickly for you now. So your missionary, your preacher, your dialogus, the dog martyr all get access to your war hymns.
Yep.
Which is essentially a bit like a...
It's a bit like it's a bit like a psychic thing. You roll a dice to see if it goes off. You assign your hymns of battle at the beginning. As you're making your list, it's a bit like a don't say it psychic phase because we don't like psychic as sisters.
Yeah, it's like a chaplain. It's your sister's battle chaplain essentially. So they all know war hymns. So war hymns gives you +1 to your attack characteristic, which is brilliant. Again, sacrosanct, fantastic.
And you can put that on anything within 6 inches of the caster.
Core, Adepta Ministorum core or character units. Yeah. So everyone knows war hymns. You also have access to Refrain of Blazing Piety, which is essentially a smite. Yeah. It's a 12-inch smite, D3 mortal wounds or flat 3 if it's chaos. Excuse me. You've got the Chorus of Spiritual Fortitude as well. So this works on core and character and Engine of Redemption units. So your... oh goodness, what are they called?
Oh, the really cool looking killy things.
The Casket of Penance, the mortifiers and your penitent engines.
Yes.
There we go. And that means they cannot be affected if they're already under the effect of a psychic power. It gets taken away. And also it means that any psychic powers on that unit until your next command phase cannot be used. So
that's very good.
That's pretty massive because if you put that onto a eligible unit which is on your front lines, if you're facing Grey Knights, for instance, they can't be smited, which means that the rest of your army also can't be smited.
That's nice.
So that really, really denies a lot of psychic potential.
Yeah.
So if you get that one off on the right unit, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. You've got the Psalm of Righteous Smiting as well, which is it kind of boosts up your priest to make them a battle pope, essentially.
Battle Pope. He is the Pope of battle.
Yes. So the Pope gets +1 strength and attacks. You improve the AP by 1, and at the end of the fight phase, you can just fight again.
Yeah. Little side note, it will only improve the AP of 1 if it's not got a relic. It doesn't work on relics.
Yes, that's true.
That is a condition of that.
Yeah.
But Battle Pope.
Yeah.
Send him off into battle. Put him in your Pope wagon.
Yeah.
Pope mobile.
Put it on your Zealot's Vindicator. That's very nice.
Ooh.
You've then got some which are specifically for Adepta Sororitas, so this can't be done on your Adeptus Ministorum stuff. Yes. So
the
Repentia, for instance.
My darlings.
Yes, not so much. So with the Litany of Enduring Faith, you can select a Sororitas core or character unit, and their Shield of Faith is improved by 1.
Yes. So this is what you were mentioning about using on the Paragon Warsuits.
Yes, but if they had a 5 vulnerable save built in, that would be a 4, and that would probably fix them.
Yes.
In my opinion, that would fix them. They're in a massive warsuit. Why haven't they got a 5 vulnerable save?
You make a very good point.
Jeez.
I want a warsuit.
You've got the Verse of Holy Piety, core or character units within 6. They can be affected by an additional sacred rite, which is very nice. And then you've got the Catechism of Repugnance, which is the final one. So each time a core character unit within 6 inches makes an attack with a bolt weapon, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds, and the AP, if they are in half range, is improved by 1. So that's fine. That's nice. That one's probably the least fun. But the other 5 plus for him is nice. So that, for me, is one of the really big changes for the characters with this new book. Getting access to war hymns for those characters is really nice. Because it gives you another way to boost your army to unimaginable proportions.
Unimaginable power.
Yeah, but not unimaginable because we're talking about it right now. So that's kind of it for the new stuff. The only real changes with the war gear was the flamers.
Yep.
So flamers now are Ministorum flamers, and essentially they're +1 strength to your normal flamers. So your hand flamers are strength 4, your regular Ministorum flamers are strength 5, and your heavy Ministorum flamers are strength 6. So for horde clearance.
That's very nice.
Very pleasant. Indeed.
Death to the Xenos.
Death to the Xenos, exactly. And points changes, again, was kind of minimal. So nothing crazy to write home about here for the points. So all of the stuff that we had previously has pretty pretty much remain the same, with the addition of the new units, with the addition of war hymns, with the updates to your acts of faith, and other bits and pieces, and a heap of stratagems. 4 pages of stratagems.
So many stratagems, it quite literally blows my brain.
Yeah, there's pretty much one for every unit, as far as I'm aware.
There's a lot of, that's I think why there's so many stratagems, there's just a lot of unit specific ones.
Yeah.
So you do need to kind of be aware of what they are. You can't just go, oh, let's just have a little look and see if there's any stratagems that apply here. It's definitely worth being aware of them before you go into the game.
Exactly. So with all those things considered, plus the orders, the Sisters of Battle are a very, very adaptable army.
Yes.
If you like collecting the models, you can play the game in lots of different ways with lots of different options. They can be quite a technical army. There's quite a lot to think about. With all of those things combined, there is a lot of admin to do in your brain box. But for the most part, I think they're a fantastic army.
Yeah, that's it. It can be quite complicated to get into. But once you kind of got your head around it, they are definitely worth it to play. They are a fun army.
For sure. If you've got a very analytical brain, they're a hot choice.
They're good for you.
If you like playing competitively, there's some really nice options. And you can kind of adapt the army based on what you're facing with the Sacred Rites. So yeah, for us, it's a big thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, we both play Sisters, so clearly we know what we're talking about.
Big fans. Big fans. So that is that for the top changes for the Sisters of Battle and their new Codex. Head over to On Demand now to see 2 extra videos, one covering the best combos that you can make with all of these things, and also another one for the top 5 units as well. So that is it for us for today. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate your support. Hit subscribe, give us a like, and head over to On Demand, because all of those things support us greatly.
Yes.
But for now, this has been me, the Beard. It's been you, the Jinx.
Rawr.
And we'll catch you next time.
Okay.
Finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Very good.
I'm done.